So this week I had a really fun idea. Since not a lot of people watch slice of life anime, I wanted to talk about some of my favorite slice of life anime. These anime are popular for slice of life anime, but I still thought this could be a fun idea to get people to check out some slice of life anime if they have never explored the genre before. Especially two of these anime which are really unique for slice of life anime. This is an actual ranking, however, of how much enjoyment I got out of these shows. But anyway, let's get into this and start by talking about the number 5 show on this list. So, at rank number 5, we have this really amazing show that will really get you in your feels a lot, called Kotaro Lives Alone. This is a really sweet and wholesome series with a really dark undertone. This is the story of Kotaro, a small kindergarten-aged kid who lives alone in his own apartment. He takes care of all of his chores and does everything he can to take care of his home. All the adult characters have problems that they go through during the run of the show, but after they meet Kotaro, they immediately realize that whatever they're going through is nothing compared to this little boy. They all secretly do their best to help him in whatever ways they can, which is super sweet. The series has a really nice art style that works surprisingly well for what it is. It's very unique for a show like this, which definitely helps the quality of the show. The animation is decent as well. Not perfect, but it definitely is decent. So next up, let's talk about the characters. Firstly, Kotaro himself. He is a very sweet little boy who is really mature for his age, but still has that little kid quality to him. There's a very dark undertone to his story, obviously, but more so than you think. He carries around a toy sword that he uses to pretend to be a samurai from his favorite cartoon. But that sword has a lot more significance than just that. It is also a way for Kotaro to protect himself. Not physically, but to protect his heart. That sword means everything to him. It isn't just some toy. We also get to see the amount of trauma he has when he sleeps. In certain instances, you can see how badly messed up he is. The next character I want to bring up is Shin. He is Kotaro's next door neighbor and he immediately steps up to the plate. He is a mangaka who isn't really the greatest role model, but he still tries his best despite all of his own circumstances and really takes on the role of Kotaro's guardian. He plays a great role in Kotaro's life and he is always there to help Kotaro out. He is just a great guy. He does have his own issues and it causes some conflict in the story, but he is always able to be the better person and help out when needed. If Shin is like an older brother to Kotaro, then Mizuki is like an older sister. Just like with Shin, she jumps in to help Kotaro out as soon as she learns what Kotaro is going through. She is someone who definitely has her own issues she goes through on a daily basis, but she doesn't let that get in the way of helping Kotaro out when she can. The story is really awesome to see because it just goes to show you how nice people can be even though you're going through your own problems. They each step up and help out Kotaro in their own way, which is really awesome to see. So the next anime I want to talk about is one that is interesting because for a slice of life anime, it actually follows the storyline instead of just being random nonsense for the show's length. The anime in question is Sakura Quest. This anime is really good. This is a fun story about a girl who recently graduated from college. She is struggling to find a job until she is offered a job to help revitalize this town. The offer was a mistake, but after some consideration, she accepted the role. She works really hard in her role of queen to help revitalize the town and show off the charms of the culture of this place. It is honestly a really fun story with great characters. I can't believe the show came out in 2017 because I remember watching it back then. There is a lot of good about this anime. Firstly, it looks really good. Paya works really locked in for this one, but then again, when don't they? The animation is solid and you can't really hate the character designs either. This all works out awesomely, but honestly, let's go into the characters because they are what makes this show really shine. So let's start with the main character because her development is awesome. At the beginning of the story, she hates the countryside and has moved away to Tokyo to find whatever it is that she is looking for, but after failing to find a job and not being able to find that special thing, she eventually does get a job offer in a small town to be their queen, or really just the head of their tourism bureau. Over the course of her working this job and interacting with the locals, she has come to love this town and the countryside living as well. She works really hard to help bring people to this town and show off the wonders of this town and its people. Next up is Shiori. She is a hard worker. She loves her hometown and works tirelessly to help others understand the beauty of her hometown. She is Koharu's main assistant in the show, and they work side by side together to bring the beauty of the town out for everyone to see. She has this nice vibe to her that it really shows how much she loves her town and where she is from. On the opposite end of that spectrum, there's a character called Ririko. She hates her hometown, and she wants to leave, but is also way too scared to make that journey. She has struggled to find meaningful work after high school and has ended up becoming a shut-in and not really doing anything. That is, until Koharu comes to town, where eventually she ends up helping and growing to love the town she grew up in as well. There are other characters, but that gives us a gist of what we need here. Honestly, this is a really fun anime that I highly recommend. So the anime at the number 3 spot probably won't surprise anyone who has seen it before, well, except for the fact that some people might think it's too low on this list, and that's fair. But the two shows I have ranked higher than this anime are anime that I absolutely love. But anyway, let's get into the anime in question, that is known as Yuru Camp. This is such a great anime. It is super wholesome, but most importantly, it is super relaxing, which is the best part about it. I can't ever sit down and watch this anime without feeling nice and relaxed because it is just that good at making you feel that way. Okay, but what is this anime about? Well, it's in the name. It's camping, specifically winter camping. It does a great job at building up character relationships. It also teaches you a lot about certain camping gear, which is pretty cool because now if you want to go winter camping, then you will be a lot more prepared for it. It's cool that it does this, but honestly, the characters are the best part of Yuru Camp. They are all really fun and have a great friendship built up. Nadeshiko is the perfect protagonist. She is just getting into the whole camping scene, so every time something new comes up, we are learning it through her perspective. It doesn't really feel forced in that sense. I also really like her character because she is super high energy, which contrasts the more relaxing vibe of the anime really well. She loves to explore and hang out with her friends, and camping is the perfect way to do that. Rin is another great protagonist. Unlike Nadeshiko, she is very experienced at camping, and she is also a lot more chill. Both her and Nadeshiko are like polar opposites of each other, which works really well for the two main characters. One has experience, and the other is new to this whole thing. Rin also likes to solo camp a lot. She does join her friends occasionally, but she mostly does solo camping, which is really cool. Then we have Aoi, Chiaki, and Enna, who are the girls from the Outdoor Activities Club. They are very funny in their own ways. Each of them have their own fun way of doing camping stuff. Enna isn't really a member of that club, but she is still a part of the friend group and joins in on camps all the time. It's really cool to see all the characters' interactions because they really do a great job at making the friendship seem fun and awesome at the campsite. Yuru Camp is a really fun anime that I highly recommend everyone check out, especially if you need to have a really fun and relaxing time watching some anime. Speaking of relaxing anime, I don't think there is a single other anime that gives off that relaxing homely vibe more than Non Non Biyori. This is such a great show. It is cute, funny, wholesome, and just really very relaxing. Especially if you come from a small town environment, that is definitely going to remind you of your own childhood, hanging out with your friends and doing dumb stuff outside. That is the beauty of this anime. It brings you back in time. There's a lot that could be said about this anime. Obviously, there is not really a lot of plot here. It is just a bunch of kids from this really tiny town hanging out. But the show is genuinely really funny. We see some really fun stuff that's like, oh, I would have definitely done that as a kid. Honestly, this whole show is just great. The characters feel so authentic and they play their roles perfectly. Renge is especially really funny. She is the one that gets up to the most antics in the show. She is the youngest, and so she kind of has to rely on the others, but she also is quite mature because of that. But she is also definitely still a kid. She goofs around, plays pranks on her friends, and really is just allowed to be a kid. Hotaru is technically the main character. She is the character who moves from Tokyo to this small town, and she has to get used to this new environment. She tries to act like she's older than she actually is, which can lead to some really funny moments where we see her childishness actually come out. She isn't as mature as she thinks she is, and it definitely shows. But honestly, her having to get used to not always living with technology at her fingertips is a really fun thing to see. Natsumi is my second favorite character. Like Renge, she often is the one that gets started with all those antics. She loves to mess with her older sister, but she is also someone who can be kind and caring as well, even if it doesn't always show. She is very tomboyish. She loves sports and the outdoors. Well, that's all the characters, but still. She is just a really funny character that adds to the show. Komari is the last character I really want to highlight. She is Natsumi's older sister. However, she doesn't look it. She has a major complex about this actually. She always wants to be treated as the older one, but is never treated as such. And honestly, it does kind of come out as well. We can definitely see her childishness in her character still. Honestly, I just now realized that each of the main characters has an older and younger counterpart. They're not exact copies of each other, each character has their own unique traits, of course, but Renge and Natsumi are very similar yet different, and the same is true for Hotaru and Komari. This makes for a really fun dynamic in the story and with how the characters interact with each other. So yeah, Non Non Biyori is great. So with all of this being said, what is my favorite slice of life anime? Well, that's simple. It's an awesome anime known as Is the Order a Rabbit? This anime is super cute. The characters are really fun and the coffee shop setting is cool too. This is another anime that doesn't really have a story, but it doesn't really need one. This anime is all about the characters, and that shows so much because the characters are awesome. First, let's talk about the main character, Kokoa. Yes, that is her name. Of course, it's a pun. She is this very high energy girl who just moved to the city from the country for school, and she is just someone who enjoys life. She isn't the smartest, but she can be damn well funny, and it really helps her case. Chino is the other main character. She's the youngest main character in the story. She is a part of the family that just takes Kokoa in. She is someone who doesn't really show all that much emotion most of the time, but when she does, it is at very select few circumstances and with select few people. As the series goes on, she shows those emotions more and more. She has a really great relationship with Kokoa, and they really have some of the best interactions in the anime. She is a really fun character to watch. Rize is the tomboy character. She is strong, likes sports, and is overall just very athletic. She tries to be more girly than her hobbies suggest, which can lead to some really funny moments in the show. Chia is a fun one because on the surface, she is very stereotypically ladylike. Her family also runs a shop of their own, but specializes in tea instead of coffee. Despite her ladylike personality, she actually loves ghost stories and terrorizing her friends. However, despite that, she is also a very nice and helpful person. Lastly, we have Sharo. She is someone who has this very brash personality, but not in a bad way. People often mistake her for being extremely rich, when in reality she is just like the rest of us, and that is broke. But this leads to some funny moments in the show. The best part of the character writing is that all of the characters have some kind of insecurity, and each one of them help each other out with their insecurities, which is also really cool. This anime also looks great, the artwork especially. The character designs are super cute and the animation is decent, and really, the show is just good. There's a reason it has as many seasons as it does. Is the Order of Rabbit is a really good anime that I highly recommend if you haven't seen it. So that was my list of fun slice of life anime. You can tell me what you think of my list down in the comments below. I would love to hear your thoughts. You can also throw your list down there as well. But anyway, that was the video. If you liked it, be sure to leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel. It helps out a ton. And if you do decide to join the community, then I guess I'll see you next week with another video. Bye!